And now, welcome to Storytime for Dharma Children of all ages with Brian Conroy. Once upon a time, when pigs drank wine and drove gridlocked freeways in air-conditioned luxury cars while talking non-stop on cellular phones and sipping from lattes in styrofoam cups, there lived an old sow, and she had 3 pigs. Now, being a good mother, she did all she could for her piglets. She bathed and perfumed them, but the truth is, they still smelled like pigs. She cleaned their rooms, but no matter how hard she worked, the place always looked like a pigsty. She even bought them jewelry to give them a sense of worth and class, but that made no difference. I mean, you know how it is with pearls before swine. Finally, she grew tired of living from hoof to mouth, and she put her hoof down once and for all. She called her 3 piglets to her trough side, and since they were all bilingual, she spoke to them in pig Latin, saying, "Emstray, and don't you 3 little lard butts ever come back." Well, the 3 little pigs, they were shocked by this. They figured they could live at home at least until they were 35. So off they went with their snouts in a huff to seek their fortunes. Now the 3 little pigs followed a path that was paved with good intentions until they came to a place where 3 roads diverged in a yellow wood. And feeling suspiciously like part of a Robert Frost poem, each followed a different road. Now the first little pig followed a gilded path sparkling with gold and jewels and diamonds, and on top of a hill, in an exclusive gated community, he built a mansion out of greed. Its foundation was built of genuine desire, with double reinforced beams of selfishness. And the walls were carved of pure ego, envy, and avarice. And the roof was shingled with layers of overindulgence. Oh, this little pig was living high on the hog until one day there came an unexpected knock on the door. And the little pig, wondering how anyone had gotten past the security cameras and the guard dogs, ran to his front door, looked out through the peephole, and saw a strange, convex figure. Said, "Who is it?" And a cheery little voice sang out, "California Lottery!" The little pig realized the moment he had waited for all of his life had finally come. He would finally get something for nothing. He would never have to work again. As soon as he opened that door, there would be the president of the California Lottery to present him with a check for millions of dollars. He would smile and fake tears and be on television and be the richest pig in all the world. So he undid bolt after bolt and lock after lock, and he took a deep breath and opened the door, and preparing himself for the surprise of his life, that is exactly what he got. For standing there in his doorway was not the president of the California Lottery, but the ugliest, greediest beast he had ever seen in all of his life. And as he stood staring at the scowling expression of the beast, he realized it was a mirror image of himself. And as he gazed into that mirror image, the beast huffed and puffed and blew his house down in one hot, greedy breath, leaving not even a telltale sign behind, because everyone knows dead pigs tell no tales. And the second little pig followed a well-worn path full of brambles and thorn bushes over which a dark cloud hovered night and day. And at the crossroads of meanness and cruelty, he built a fortress out of anger. Its foundation was built of genuine hatred, with walls constructed of harsh words and ill will and dirty looks of sticks and stones and broken bones, rising to a ceiling of violence and rage. One day, the little pig saw a figure appear on his radar screen. Incensed that anyone would try to invade his fortress, he armed himself, ready to battle anyone who dared approach. He threw open the door and he screamed out, "What do you want?" But there was no one there. The little pig ran outside, gun in hand, seething, searching for someone to be the target of his anger. And he huffed, and he puffed, and he shot himself in the foot, which triggered a chain reaction of explosions caused by landmines he had buried beneath the ground. He had found the enemy, and it was himself. But now all of the weapons, the fortress he had built with his bare hooves exploded with the force of an atomic bomb that instantly fried the pig, so that for hours after, crisp strips of bacon rained from the sky. Now the third little pig took the road less traveled, and that made all the difference. He followed that road until he came to a place where the river of tenderness flows into the sea of understanding. And there he built his house out of compassion. Its foundation was built of kindness, with walls constructed of giving and generosity and good deeds. In the center of the house was a table of sisterhood and brotherhood, large enough for both friends and enemies to gather together in an intimate family room with windows that looked out on a bright tomorrow. Well, the kind little pig had put the finishing touches on his house, and he had just set out the welcome mat when there came a racket from the living room that sounded as if a 200-pound weight had been dropped down his chimney. And when he went to see what it was, there, standing in his fireplace, was a 200-pound man. But he looked kind and pure-hearted and jolly. He had a long white beard, he had on a red suit, he had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of junk. And with a wink of his eye, he emptied a whole sack of gifts on the floor of the little pig's house. And the little pig smiled, knowing that even though the locals had some unusual ways of welcoming the neighbors, this would be a pleasant neighborhood in which to raise the piglets. In time, the kind little pig married a sow, and they gave birth to 2 children whom they named Joy and Bliss. And they taught them to be civilized and well-mannered and to avoid making pigs out of themselves and always to treat others with compassion. Through the years, angry winds and greedy wolves tried to blow their house down. But since it was built on a solid foundation, nothing could bring it down. And in that house, built of compassion, they all lived happily ever